how does manipulation play a role in the type of communication that we have?
Well, we have a lot of manipulation in communication. Our partner will, might say to us that, you know, I always do everything for you. Why can't you help me? There's a, we start to bring in things like fear, obligation, guilt. We're looking at things like control, approval, validation, getting attention. So all of those things, it always comes back to either the motives of the partner or the other person or their insecurities. And we'll quite often have, when we get into a conversation, their insecurities will come through and we'll then respond to that. At the same time, coercive control is a major issue these days. And coercive control also can lead on to domestic violence as well. And this is the thing, whenever we got those situations, I'm always looking at, well, where did it all start? Did the person who became abusive suffer under coercive control, first of all, to get to that point? You know, what came before that? Who was affected? So it's finding out as much information as we can in understanding where it's really coming from. But the person, as I said, could be that they're trying to control, they're trying to isolate you from your family or friends and other things, so they've got that control with you, or they're just totally insecure. So we have to listen to be able to work out where it's really coming from. If I've got somebody says to me, and that all my partners when I met them really charming, and I'm looking at, well, were they charming with everybody else? If I've been introduced to their partner, I'm watching them behave with other people. How do they behave when the waiter comes over, for instance, or the waitress? How do they respond to them? Are they direct and quite short with them, and then back to you, showing you all that charm and everything else? I always ask people, did your partner charm you, or are they just naturally charming to everyone? If they're naturally charming to everybody and they do it all the time, they're pretty much that way. But somebody who manipulates will usually have look at people in three categories. One will be the person who that they can get what they want from, so they'll ingratiate themselves to them. Other people they feel threatened by, they'll try and put them down, and everybody else they ignore. So I always look at with the people who you might class as being insignificant in their life, the doorman, the waitress, etc., the waiter. How do they respond to them? How do they respond to their staff? How do they respond to their bosses, etc.? We may talk to our boss differently than we may talk to our staff, but is there respect in the way in which we talk to both? This is the thing we need to be looking at. Where's this person really coming from? Yes, our conversation is going to shift with the different types of people we're talking to, as far as the way in which we behave with them. Like with the boss, it's always going to be more respectful, etc. You may joke with your staff. You wouldn't joke with your boss because it might be, not that really appropriate in that position. But do you talk to him with her and her with respect, or do you talk to your staff with the same respect? If you do, it's fairly confident that that person's going to be fairly genuine. But when they shift around, especially when they ignore some people, just treat them with disrespect, waiter comes over, put something down, they don't even acknowledge it, then you start to worry and you start looking at things. I always say to people, if they're going to employ somebody, take them out to lunch. See how they behave with everybody, especially if it's going to be an executive position who's going to be controlling your staff. You want to make sure that they can work with people the best way. Best way to test them is take them out in the public. Don't just do it in a boardroom where you're having an interview, because people will tell you whatever they want to tell you. They can put whatever they want in their resumes and come across really well, but put them to that test. They think that it's a great opportunity going out to lunch, etc. If they're a manipulator, they're going to be so focused on manipulating you, they're going to give everything else away. If they're focused on just being a genuine person, they want the job and everything else, you'll see them acknowledge people. They may be nervous, depending on the position that they're coming into and where you are in the scheme, but you take all of that into consideration. And again, to do that, you have to be observant.
I think I may have experienced what that last part. I think I may have experienced that with a former peer group where it's about five men. Majority of them are single, chronically, they just can't make it work, right? It's the city's fault, it's the woman's fault, it's everyone else but them. What would happen is that if someone in that group were to find a better paying job or a relationship, they will kind of make jokes about it while in front of others to kind of rally the other guys around, right? And there's one guy in particular, what he would do is he would paint a picture and he named people. So he would say, for example, or you guys are my warriors. So he'd give it a label, right? But Alan, if you were in a relationship, the label didn't apply to you. So you were
Mm.
kind of singled out. And I wonder, based on what you're sharing, I wonder if he was in a way manipulating the others because he was, to your point, if it's there's a threat, he was trying to joke around, and then everyone else that weren't around him, he didn't really care for. Would that be an
Mm.
accurate description of what you described?
It's the insecurity that comes with it as well. It's a case of that we all want to feel that we belong, that we contribute, that we're valued. And that's one of the reasons we associate ourselves with people who are like us because we feel comfortable in that group. But anybody who wants to extend themselves, they have to get out, spend more time away from that group with other people in a different category to move into that role. Because I think the old saying is that we are the average of the five closest friends that we hang around. So, with having that in mind, it's a case of, well, some people will come into our lives, they're going to be there for the long time, and some of them are going to be there just for the short time. So, it's realizing that we do move through life. The whole thing is to us to be the best we can towards other people. We have to be the best for ourselves. It's why when people say to me and that you need to love yourself, it's absolutely true. But it's not loving yourself to be that giving yourself a hug and everything else and being so focused on yourself. It's loving yourself so you can be the best version, so you can be there for other people. It's like with charity workers who work their tail off and they're so exhausted. And I say, well, look, do you feel that the people that you're working with deserve the best? And they go, yes. And I said, well, stop robbing them. And they look at me and they go, what are you talking about? I say, look, you're so exhausted. You're not giving your best. So you need to become selfish to be selfless. Pull away, take time out, let somebody else step in and take that role on so you can get back to being your best self, then go back and help. So it's getting that balance between there as well. With looking at the people we have around us and go, well, how much are they really serving where I'm heading? If these people are locked into a particular, attitude towards everybody else, is that who I really am anymore? Is it time for me to start looking at moving on? Because as soon as somebody doesn't fit that group, they get ostracized in some way or another, as you're just saying. And you want to make sure that, if you do that, then now all of a sudden you become fake if you stay within that group because you don't agree with what's being said, but you nod. And this is where that nervous little giggle will come from when things are happening because you don't want to be part of it. But yet I have to be part of it because these are my friends. Well, are they really? These are the things that we have to question. We have to question ourselves, but also then when we're talking to people, listen to what they're saying and understand. So instead of doing it the other way around, which is what most of us are doing all the time, and this is why we have bad and broken relationships